Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel Unlock English Success. So today we are going to do exercise of unit number 3, A Bird Came Down the Walk by Emily Dickinson. Okay, it's a poem and I have already uploaded the video in which summary explanation of all the stanzas for synonym is already and question answers are already uploaded. So if you want to watch those videos, you can go and check in my playlist. And today we are going to do the exercise of this unit. So in the exercise there are so many different kind of activities which we will do one by one. Okay, so let's start. So here we are on this page from question number B, that is choose the correct option for each question. But before starting these question answers, I want to request all of you to kindly subscribe my channel and share my videos with all your other friends and colleagues, and do share some positive comments. Okay, so let's start. Choose the correct options for each question. Now here are 5 multiple choice questions and we will find out that which option is the best one. So very first statement is, what is the bird's initial action when it comes down the walk? Option A, it drinks from a puddle. B, it bites an angleworm in half. C, it flies away. D, it hops to a wall. So if you have read this poem, so you can know that when the bird came down, it bites an angleworm in half. Okay, so option number B is the right answer. Option B. Okay. Next, second question is, how does the speaker describe the bird's eyes? A option, bright as the sun. B, like sparkling jewels. C, like frightened beads. D, as calm and serene. So the answer is option number C, like frightened beads. Okay. Then is the third question, what does the bird do after the speaker offers it a crumb? Option A, eats a crumb. B, flies away. C, sings the song. D, hops closer to the speaker, and we know that the bird didn't accept the offer and it just flies away. So the option B is the right answer. Okay, B option is the right answer, flies away. Then is question number 4 or the statement number 4, the bird's flight is compared to. तो बर्ड्स की जो फ्लाइट थी उसको किसके साथ कंपेयर किया गया था, मतलब किसके साथ उसकी रिजेम्बलेंस उन्होंने बताई. ऑप्शंस आर, ऑप्शन ए, लीव्स फॉलिंग फ्रॉम अ ट्री. बी, वेव्स क्रैशिंग ऑन द शोर. सी, oars dividing the ocean. D, wind blowing through the trees. And we know that the poet compares the bird's flight with the oars dividing the ocean. ठीक है, जिस तरह कश्ती चलाने वाले चप्पू समंदर का जो है सीना वो चीरते हैं, इसी तरह से बर्ड्स के विंग्स भी हवा में आसमान को इसी तरह चीरते हुए चला जा रहा है. सो ऑप्शन नंबर सी इज़ द राइट वन, oars dividing the ocean. ओके. देन क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 इज़, व्हाट इज़ द टोन ऑफ द पोएम, कि इस पोएम की टोन क्या है? ए, जॉयफुल एंड सेलिब्रेटरी. बी, टेंस एंड सस्पेंसफुल. C, calm and reflective. D, angry and resentful. So option number B is the right one, tense and suspenseful. Okay, B option is the right one. Now next is C question, that is, read the following sentences and identify the cause and effect. So this concept is being given in grade 9 English book also. Okay, and in which a statement is given and then we have to analyze that sentence. हमने उस sentence को अच्छी तरह से समझना है और हमने देखना है कि इसमें cause क्या है और effect क्या है. cause का मतलब क्या होता है? वजह, सबब, reason. ठीक है, और effect उसका outcome, उसका result, उसका असर. ठीक है. So the sentence number 1 is, the bird hopped sideways to the wall to let the beetle pass. कि बर्ड ने जो था वो साइड पे हो गया और उसने बीटल को गुजरने का रास्ता दिया. अब हम ढूंढेंगे कि बीच में कॉज कौन सा था और उसका इफेक्ट क्या था. आई हैव ऑलरेडी रिटन इट डाउन सो दैट ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स दे कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट वेरी क्लियरली. सो द कॉज हेयर इज, अ बीटल वॉज कमिंग इन द बर्ड्स पाथ. वजह ये थी कि एक बीटल बर्ड के रास्ते में आ रहा था और उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या हुआ, उसका असर क्या हुआ, उसका इफेक्ट क्या हुआ. द बर्ड मूव्ड साइडवेज टू द वॉल टू लेट द बीटल पास. नेक्स्ट वन इज द स्पीकर ऑफर्ड अ क्रम टू द बर्ड. कि स्पीकर ने, यानी कि जो पोइटेस है इस पोएम की, उसने बर्ड को एक ब्रेड का पीस दिया. ठीक है, अब ये देखते हैं कि इसमें कॉज क्या है और इफेक्ट क्या है. कॉज है जी, द स्पीकर नोटिस द बर्ड लुक्ड कॉशियस एंड वांटेड टू कंफर्ट और फीड इट. ठीक है, स्पीकर को पता था कि बर्ड जो है वो काफ़ी मोहतात नज़र आ रहा है. ठीक है, और थोड़ा डरा हुआ भी है. तो उसने सोचा कि मैं इसको खाना खिला दूँ. और फिर उसका इफेक्ट क्या हुआ, द बर्ड बिकेम इवन मोर कॉशियस एंड फ्लू अवे इंस्टेड ऑफ एक्सेप्टिंग द क्रम. उसका असर ये हुआ कि बर्ड और कॉशियस हो गया और मोहतात हो गया, और वो बजाय उस ब्रेड के टुकड़े को लेने के वो वहाँ से उड़ गया. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट है जी क्वेश्चन नंबर डी. रीड द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स एंड आइडेंटिफाई वेदर ईच इज़ अ फैक्ट और एन ओपिनियन. ठीक है, ये कॉन्सेप्ट भी उन्होंने ग्रेड 9 की बुक में दिया था. कुछ सेंटेंसेस को देख के कि वेदर ये एक फैक्ट्स हैं या ओपिनियंस हैं. फैक्ट क्या होता है, जो हकीकत पर मबनी बात हो. ठीक है, जिसके बारे में हमारे पास कोई प्रूफ हो, कोई रिकॉर्ड हो, कोई डेटा हो. ठीक है, लेकिन ओपिनियन वो राय हो सकती है. ठीक है, राय हर पर्सन टू पर्सन वेरी करती है. तो इसी तरह से यहाँ पे भी उन्होंने हमें कुछ सेंटेंसेस दिए हैं एंड वी हैव टू एनालाइज वेदर दिस सेंटेंस इज अ कॉज fact or an opinion. So the very first one is the bird's eyes looked like frightened beads. ठीक है, यहाँ पे उन्होंने बोला है the bird's eyes looked like frightened beads, कि बर्ड की जो आंखें हैं वो frightened beads की तरह लग रही. तो ये फैक्ट है या opinion है. So we can say that the bird's eyes looked like frightened beads. It's an opinion. Okay, although based on observation, this is a simile and reflect the speaker's interpretation. ठीक है, ये शायर का अपना एक नुक्ता नज़र हो सकता है, उसकी राय हो सकती है. ठीक है, so this statement is not a fact, it's an opinion. Then the bird's flight was graceful and beautiful. It's a fact or opinion. So again it's an opinion. This reflects a subjective impression of the bird's movement, कि मे बी उस शायर को उसकी जो मूवमेंट है, उसकी जो फ्लाइट है वो बहुत पसंद आ रही हो, खूबसूरत लग रही हो. ठीक है, और ये पर्सन टू पर्सन वेरी करता है. सो इसलिए हम इसको फैक्ट नहीं बोलेंगे, हम इसको ओपिनियन ही समझेंगे. देन क्वेश्चन नंबर ई. रीड द फॉलोइंग सेंटेंसेस एंड डिस्टिंग्विश जनरलाइज स्टेटमेंट फ्रॉम एविडेंस बेस्ड इंफॉर्मेशन. ठीक है, अब अगेन यहाँ पे उन्होंने 2 सेंटेंसेस हमें दिए हैं और हमने उनको जज करना है कि इनमें से कौन सी जनरलाइज्ड स्टेटमेंट है, ऐसी स्टेटमेंट जो ऑलमोस्ट सब पे लागू हो, एक ठीक है नॉर्मल बात. और एविडेंस बेस्ड इंफॉर्मेशन का मतलब है प्रूफ के साथ, जिसको कोई प्रूफ मौजूद हो. ठीक है, फैक्ट पे बेस करती हो बात. So first one is the bird moved cautiously as if in danger. Generalized statement है या evidence based? So let's see what is that. The bird moved cautiously as if in danger is a generalized statement because this is the speaker's interpretation of the bird's behavior. Okay. Second one is the bird bite an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. It's evidence based information. Okay, this is a direct observation and a quoted line from the poem. Okay, so it could be considered as evidence based information. Next we have statement number F, question number F, that is read the following statements and identify the explicit textual evidence from the poem that supports each one. So many of you might know the meaning of the word explicit. Explicit का मतलब होता है बहुत ही नुमाया, जो सबके सामने हो, वाज़िया, obvious. ठीक है, और implicit का मतलब होता है छुपा हुआ, जिसको ढूंढ के हमने खुद निकालना है. सो एक्चुअली जब भी हम कोई टेक्स्ट पढ़ते हैं तो कुछ मीनिंग्स ऐसे होते हैं जो हम सतही तौर पर उनको अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, मतलब जो सीधा सीधा जवाब या सीधा सीधा कॉन्सेप्ट हमें किसी भी सेंटेंस में मिलता है, दैट विल बी कॉल्ड एन एक्सप्लिसिट मीनिंग. और दूसरा है इम्प्लिसिट मीनिंग, जिसका मतलब ये होता है कि सिम्बॉलिकली वो सेंटेंस जो है वो हमें क्या बताना चाह रहा है, क्या तासुर उससे मिलता है. ठीक है, और वो तासुर नेगेटिव, पॉजिटिव, कुछ भी हो सकता है. सो अब वो कह रहे हैं कि इनके स्टेटमेंट्स को पढ़ें और एक्सप्लिसिट टेक्सुअल एविडेंस कि हमने टेक्स्ट में से बताना है कि कौन सी लाइन जो है इस चीज़ को बता रही है. सो द बर्ड एट एन एंगल वॉर्म रा. इसका टेक्सुअल एविडेंस क्या होगा? लेट मी शो यू. The bird ate an angleworm raw. Textual evidence is he bite an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. ठीक है, तो हमने पोइम के अंदर से वो टेक्स्ट, वो लाइन हमने बतानी है जहाँ पर ये कॉन्सेप्ट मेंशन है. ओके. सेकेंड वन इज द बर्ड्स आइज अपीयर्ड फ्राइटेंड. कि कौन सा ऐसा जुमला है या कौन सा ऐसा वर्ड है या फ्रेज है जिससे पता चलता है कि बर्ड की आंखें फ्राइटेंड हैं, मतलब डरी हुई आंखें लग रही. तो पोइम के अंदर जो उन्होंने इसके लिए फ्रेज यूज़ किया है, दैट इज़ दे लुक्ड लाइक फ्राइटन बीड्स आई थॉट. ठीक है, इस लाइन के अंदर उन्होंने मेंशन किया फ्राइटन बीड्स के तौर पे. ठीक है. सो नाउ कम टू जी पार्ट. Read the following inferences drawn from the poem. Cite the specific lines from the poem that support each inference. ठीक है, अब वो कह रहे हैं कि हमने कुछ ऐसे सेंटेंसेस निकालें जो एक कॉन्सेप्ट बेस स्टेटमेंट्स हैं. ठीक है, उन्होंने पोएम के अंदर से जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स निकाल के यहाँ पे लिख दिए. एंड वी हैव टू टेल द एग्जैक्ट एविडेंस फ्रॉम द पोएम कि कौन सा ऐसा जुमला था या कौन सा ऐसा सेंटेंस था जिसकी बिना पर उन्होंने ये नतीजा अख्ज़ किया. ठीक है, तो अब जैसे फर्स्ट वन है, द बर्ड इज़ कॉशियस अराउंड द स्पीकर. कि बर्ड जो है स्पीकर के सामने बहुत ही मोहतात है, कॉशियस है. तो कौन सी ऐसी लाइन या कौन सी ऐसी बात है जिसकी बिना पर उन्होंने ये सेंटेंस बताया है? तो वी विल टेल देम. सपोर्टिंग एविडेंस है जी, लाइक वन इन डेंजर कॉशियस आई ऑफर्ड हिम अ क्रम. So in this very line and in this very sentence we can say that they have inferred this meaning that the bird is cautious around the speaker. Okay. Next one is the bird prefers natural freedom to human interaction. कि bird जो था उसने अपनी natural जो freedom है, उसने अपनी जो कुदरती आज़ादी अल्लाह ताला ने उसको दी है, उसने उसको चुना है बजाय इंसानों के साथ रिलेशन बनाने में. तो कौन सी ऐसे सेंटेंस से उन्होंने ये बात निकाली है? तो एविडेंस जो है वो, एंड ही अनरोल्ड हिज फेदर्स एंड रोड हिम सॉफ्टर होम. ठीक है, कि वो अपने पर को खोलता है और अपने घर की तरफ उड़ता हुआ चला जाता है. ठीक है. सो नाउ कम टू एच पार्ट. एक्सप्लेन हाउ द टेक्सुअल एविडेंस सपोर्ट्स ईच इन्फरेंस. कॉशियस बर्ड एंड नेचुरल फ्रीडम. हमने बताना है कॉशियस बर्ड की एक्सप्लेनेशन और नेचुरल फ्रीडम की एक्सप्लेनेशन. So here I have written down the explanations. Cautious bird, मोहतात परिंदा, वो कैसे था? Explanation is the speaker describes the bird as like one in danger, cautious, showing that the bird senses the speaker's presence and remains alert. It implies the bird's wariness and the fragile boundary between nature and human intrusion. ठीक है. Next one is the natural freedom. Explanation is instead of accepting the speaker's crumb, the bird flies away softer and more gracefully than any human-made movement. This suggests that the bird chooses the safety and beauty of the natural world over interacting with the human, highlighting its instinct for freedom and independence. I hope you have understand the explanation. So let's move to the next topic of your exercise, that is vocabulary and grammar. Okay, again in vocabulary and grammar, the very first question, question number A, is find the connotative and denotative meaning of these words. If you have watched my previous videos, you might have known that in each exercise they have given such questions and such columns in which they are asking us to write down whether the connotative and denotative meaning of any word. So again I will repeat, the denotative meaning is the literal or the dictionary meaning of any word. Okay, and so far as connotative means, connotative is the sense or symbolic meaning of a word. Okay, so here are the words velvet, cautious, glanced, stirred, oars, and plashlessly. So we have to tell the denotative meaning and the connotative meaning. I have already prepared the column. So let me show you that. Okay, here we are. Velvet, denotative meaning is a soft, smooth fabric with a dense pile. And connotative meanings means the symbolic or the emotional implied meaning in the very poem is suggests luxury, gentleness, and delicacy. Okay. Then cautious, showing care to avoid danger or mistakes. And the connotative meaning of cautious is implies carefulness, wisdom, or hesitation. Next word is glanced. Denotative meaning is to take a brief or quick look. And connotative meaning is can imply secrecy, nervousness, or subtlety. Next, denotative meaning of stirred is to move slightly or gently, and the connotative meaning is suggest emotions, awakening, or response. Next, we have the word oars. Oars, denotative meaning is poles with flat blades used to row or steer a boat. And the connotative meanings from related to this poem is often associated with travel, effort, or peaceful motion. Plashless, denotative meaning is without a splash or plash sound. And connotative meaning is conveys quiet, smooth, and graceful movement. Okay. So next, again, question number B is identify whether each word typically carries a positive or negative connotation and provides examples of contexts where these connotations might apply. Okay, they have given 3 words and we have to tell the positive connotation, मतलब उसका जो एक positive meaning बताना है और एक उसकी हमने negative meaning बताना है, and then we have to give the example from the poem as well. So here is the column. वर्ड ग्लांस, ग्लांस का मतलब है देखना, एक नज़र. ठीक है, तो इसकी कॉन्नोटेशन क्या है जी? इट्स समटाइम्स यूज एज अ पॉजिटिव वर्ड और समटाइम इट कैन बी रेफर्ड एज अ न्यूट्रल. ठीक है, न्यूट्रल टू पॉजिटिव वर्ड है. एग्जाम्पल फ्रॉम द कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज शी गेव अ क्विक ग्लांस एट द स्काई, सजेस्ट ब्रीफ ऑब्जर्वेशन विदाउट इंट्रूजन. Then glide is a positive connotation. The swan glided across the lake, evokes grace, elegance, and smoothness. Then feathers, again positive connotation word है. Her hat was adorned with soft feathers, can suggest beauty, nature, or lightness. Next we have question number C. Compare each pair of words that have similar basic definitions but evoke different feelings or ideas. Discuss the different nuances each word carries and how these nuances affect the tone and interpretation when used in various contexts. So nuance is also considered as the shades of the words, okay, different meanings of the words. So here glance versus stare. ठीक है, अब ये देखिए glance का मतलब ही एक नज़र देखना है, stare का मतलब ही देखना है, लेकिन उर्दू में हम जिसे कहते हैं ना घूरना, तो ये जो है वो थोड़ा सा नेगेटिव सेंस दे रहा है. So this word has a negative connotation and glance has a positive connotation or the neutral connotation. So let me show you the answers. Glance versus stare is a quick or brief look, often subtle or respectful. He glanced at his watch. Stare affects often prolonged look, which may be intense or intrusive. Example, she stared at him with disbelief. So nuance in meaning, glance suggests mild curiosity or observation. Stare implies intensity, rudeness, or shock. The tone changes based on the level of engagement. Okay, so we can say that glance is the positive and stare is the negative connotation. Next word is glide versus slide. Glide to move smoothly and gracefully, often through air or over a surface. Example, the bird glided through the sky. And slide to move along a surface with less control or effort, often unintentional. The glass slide of the table. Nuance in meaning is glide evokes grace and elegance. Slide feels more mechanical or accidental. Okay, glide creates a calm tone. Slide can feel clumsy or rushed. So it means that glide is the more on the positive connotation and slide is slightly negative connotation. Next word is cautious versus paranoid. Cautious, careful to avoid risk or mistakes. Prudent. Example, he was cautious when crossing the road. Paranoid, overly suspicious or fearful without reason. She felt paranoid that someone was watching her. So nuance in meaning is cautious is sensible and wise. Paranoid is excessive and irrational. So the former reflects maturity, means cautious reflects maturity, and the paranoid reflects anxiety or instability, which means that cautious is here a positive connotative word and paranoid is negative. Okay. So next is D statement. D question. Read the following sentences from the poem. Use the context provided in the sentence and the surrounding lines to infer the meaning of the underlined word or phrases. He stirred his velvet head. So contextual clues and inferred meanings. हमने दोनों चीज़ें इनको बतानी है, ठीक है? He stirred his velvet head. Contextual clue is the poem is describing the bird's careful movement and how it responds to its surroundings. The word velvet is used to describe the bird's head just before it senses something and reacts. Inferred meaning is velvet head refers to the bird's soft, smooth, and delicate feathered head. The word stirred means the bird moves slightly or turned its head gently. So the phrase suggests the bird gently moved its soft feathered head in awareness or alertness. Next we have second one, and then hopped sidewise to the wall to let the beetle pass. Contextual clue means the bird notices a beetle coming towards it and chooses to move aside rather than attack or ignore it. And inferred meanings is that hopped sidewise means the bird moves sideways with a hopping motion. It shows the bird is polite, gentle, and respectful of even small creatures like the beetle. Reflection questions is the next one, I guess. Yes. So how did the context of each sentence help you determine the meaning of the word or phrase? And then why is it important to consider the word's position or function in a sentence when trying to understand its meaning? So the very first question is, the position and function of a word show how it relates to the rest of the sentence. For example, velvet is an adjective describing the bird's head, showing texture and softness. If you don't look at how the word functions in the sentence, you might misinterpret it. Understanding context helps clarify the poet's tone, intention, and imagery. Okay. Then the second one is, sorry, I have missed this question. How did the context of each sentence help you determine the meaning of the word or phrase? The context shows the bird's gentle behavior and cautious nature in both examples. The lines before and after show how the bird is aware of its surroundings, helping us understand the movement is delicate, polite, and intentional, not sudden or aggressive. Okay. Next, they are telling us about the figurative language in the poem. So they are literary terms, and many a times in my previous videos I have told and taught the students about these. But again, if I have to read it out again, everything, the video might be too long. So I will just tell you briefly about these literary terms or the figurative language. एक्चुअली दीज आर द लिटरेरी टेक्निक्स जो पोएट्स और राइटर्स जो हैं वो अपनी राइटिंग को खूबसूरत बनाने के लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं ताकि पढ़ने वालों को एक बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त फीलिंग्स उनको लगें या वो उनको बहुत पसंद आएँ, क्योंकि सीधे सीधे सेंटेंसेस तो हर कोई बोलता है, तो उनको बेहतर और ख़ूबसूरत बनाने के लिए जो हैं राइटर्स एंड पोएट्स दे यूज़ सम फिगरेटिव लैंग्वेज. ठीक है, ये टर्मिनोलॉजीज होती हैं, इस्तिलाहात. So very first one is simile. Simile is the comparison with the help of like or as. ठीक है, जब हम दो डिफरेंट चीज़ों को कंपेयर करते हैं उनके किसी एक खूबी की वजह से, तो इस तरह के वर्ड्स में हम like और as का वर्ड यूज़ करते हैं. अब जैसे पोइम के अंदर से एग्जांपल थी, they looked like frightened beads. Okay. Then personification is that when you assign or give human qualities to the non-living objects. अब he stirred his velvet head. ठीक है. उसके बाद इमेजरी का मतलब होता है कि ऐसे डिस्क्रिप्टिव लैंग्वेज को इस्तेमाल करना जो हमारी 5 सेंसेस को अपील करें. ठीक है, एक पूरा इमेज हमारे माइंड में आ जाए. तो सच काइंड ऑफ वर्ड्स कैन बी यूज्ड एज इमेजरी. देन सिंबलिज्म. सिंबलिज्म इज अ लिटरेरी डिवाइस वेयर एन ऑब्जेक्ट, पर्सन और सिचुएशन रिप्रेजेंट समथिंग बियॉन्ड इट्स लिटरल मीनिंग. ठीक है, इलामती तौर पर हम किसी वर्ड को किसी और सेंस में जो समझते हैं उसको सिम्बॉलिक या सिम्बोलिज्म बोलते हैं, ठीक है। अब जैसे इस पोइम के अंदर जो बर्ड्स की फ्लाइट है उसको जैसे उन्होंने बताया है, दैट इज़ द सिम्बोलिज्म. Then comes a euphemism and oxymoron. Euphemism is a mild or indirect word expression कि बहुत ही एक हार्श रियलिटी को एक अच्छे वर्ड्स में बताने को यूफेमिज्म कहते हैं. जैसे पास्ट अवे इंस्टेड ऑफ डाइड, डाइड की बजाय अगर पास्ट अवे वर्ड यूज़ करेंगे तो दिस इज़ द यूज़ ऑफ यूफेमिज्म, ठीक है. फायर्ड, किसी को जॉब से निकाल देने की बजाय अगर लेट गो, जाने देना, ठीक है. इसी तरह से ओल्ड पर्सन की बजाय अगर हम सीनियर सिटीजन बोलेंगे तो दिस इज़ द यूज़ ऑफ यूफेमिज्म. और ऑक्सीमोरॉन का मतलब है जो हम एक ऑपोजिट आइडियाज़ को किसी एक ही सेंटेंस में पेश करें. ऑक्सीमोरॉन जैसे बिटर स्वीट, डेफनिंग साइलेंस एंड जम्बो श्रिम्प, these all are oxymoron, ठीक है. The opposites are written together. So here again there are some multiple choice questions related to the figures of speech, and I have written it down for you so that all of you can know the answers. So which of the following lines from the poem contains an example of figurative language? Correct answer is C. Then oars divide the ocean. Here, okay, they have given us these four options. Option A is he bite an angleworm in halves, and he unrolled his feathers. And C, then oars divided the ocean. And D, he stirred his velvet head. ठीक है, हमने इसमें बताना है कि कौन सी लाइन में figurative language use हुई है. So we can tell that C1, then oars divide the ocean. Okay, it is metaphor. Then statement number 2 is the phrase stirred his velvet head is an example of euphemism, oxymoron, simile or metaphor. So the option number D is the right one, that is metaphor. Okay. Then sentence number 3, in the context of the poem, the poet's description of the bird's killing of the worm is an example of oxymoron, simile, euphemism or hyperbole. So we will tell that it's a euphemism. Okay. Then which of the following best represent an oxymoron even if not explicitly used in the poem? He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frightened bees. The grass divided as with the calm. A bird came down the walk. So correct answer is option number B. They looked like frightened bees. Okay. Next is fifth. Which poetic device is most clearly used in the line they look like frightened bees? Oxymoron, euphemism, metaphor or simile? So it's a simile because clearly they have mentioned the word like in it. Then 6.1, he bite an angleworm in halves. What type of imagery is used in this line? Visual imagery, auditory, tactile imagery, olfactory imagery. Okay, so here we say that visual imagery. Butterflies of banks of noon, leaves splashless as they swim. Which figure of speech is used here? Personification, simile, alliteration or metaphor? So it is simile. Okay. Question number 8, and then hopped sideways to the wall. What type of imagery is used here? Tactile imagery, gustatory imagery, auditory or visual? So 8.1 is again visual imagery. Done. Next is the concept of compound prepositions. We already know that prepositions are used in sentences. Okay, and sometimes they connect with the subject of with the predicate in a sentence. And in, on, with, to, under, out, up, they all are example of preposition. But when there are more than 2 or 3 prepositions combined together, so they will be called as compound preposition. Examples: into, onto, within, without, beside, underneath, beneath and behind, they all are examples of compound prepositions. So here read each sentence carefully and choose a correct answer that identifies or correctly uses a compound preposition. Which of the following is a compound preposition? on, by, into, or the at. So C option is the right one, into. Choose a sentence that correctly uses a compound preposition. She lives at the house, he stood by the road, the child jumped onto the bed, they walked over the hill. So C option is the right one, because here onto word compound preposition is used. Okay? What is the meaning of the compound preposition within in this sentence? You must complete the work within 2 days. अब ये जो word within है compound preposition, इसका मतलब क्या बना? Outside the limit, in between, beyond the limit, or inside a time limit. So D option is the right one, inside a time limit. Next we have select the sentence that contains two compound prepositions. She ran into the house and sat beside her brother. They arrived late and left quietly. The letter was written by hand. He stood near the doctor and looked around. So here into and beside is written. So A option is the right one. Then fifth sentence, which of the following is not a compound preposition? Without, beside, during और into. Into भी compound preposition है, beside भी हमारी compound preposition है, without भी हमारी compound preposition है. So C option is the right one, during. ठीक है. Then prepositional phrases. Again, it's a quite lengthy topic and lengthy exercise. So I will just tell you the answer of statement number G and H, which I have already written down here so that you can easily see. Read each sentence and underline the prepositional phrases, then write whether it's an adjective phrase or an adverb phrase. The cookies in the jar are delicious. It's adjective phrase because in the jar are describing cookies. She spoke with confidence during the presentation. So with confidence is adverb phrase because it's describing or showing the word spoke, verb. They drove through the city at night. Through the city at night is again adverb phrase because it's describing a verb. The dog behind the fence barked loudly. It's an adjective phrase because it's describing the dog. He left before sunrise to catch the train. It's adverb phrase, okay, because it's describing the verb left. Then the flowers by the window are blooming. So it's adjective phrase because they are describing the flowers. Next, H1 is use the given prepositional phrases to create your own sentences. During the meeting, everyone stayed silent and took notes. Beside the couch, there is a small table beside the couch holding a lamp and some books. Without a doubt, she is the most talented singer in the class. Before the concert, we grabbed a quick bite to eat before the concert started. Near the river, they built a cozy cabin near the river for weekends getaways. And over the hill, the sun set slowly over the hills, painting the sky in orange hues. So finally, our exercise of unit number 3 is done, which was quite lengthy, okay, and I have tried that all your questions must be answered so that you can prepare it well for your exams, okay. So please, at the end of the video, I want to request all of you to kindly like my video and share it with your all friends and colleagues, and for my better motivation to prepare more videos for your help, kindly subscribe my channel and do some positive comments in the comment sections, okay. Thank you so much. Inshallah, tomorrow or the next day I will upload the video of chapter number 4, Team Moon, okay. Till then, Allah Hafiz.